My name is Donavan Lane, CEO of ABC Computers, and on behalf of our team at ABC, we thought you might enjoy this short 15-minute video of how these pens were made for my little woodshop at home. Enjoy. So the first step is taking the blank, and we're going to drill a hole through both sides. I'm going to flip the blank around. Now I'll drill through the other side. There. Finished. Drilled on both sides. Next I'm going to take the blank that we just drilled and I'm going to cut it in half. And I've got a little template here that cuts one exactly 2 3/8 inches. I'll flip it around and cut the other side 2 1/8 inches. There. Now I have 2 pieces ready to be glued with the bushing inside. So now that we have the 2 cut pieces with the holes inside, this is the pen kit, and inside the pen kit there are the pieces for the pen, and it contains 2 brass bushings. One, the short one, is going to go into the little one, and the long one is going to go into the big one. So next, I'm going to take epoxy, which I've mixed up together, and I put this into a glue, and this is mixed. I'm next going to take the short bushing, and I'm going to put the glue on the bushing, and then insert the bushing inside, and notice I'm twisting it as I'm putting it inside there. One done. Next is to glue the other. Again, tube inserting, putting it into one side, kind of twisting it as I'm going. And again, bushings inserted, step completed. The next step is to take each end and square with the tube the end. So this tool here inserts in and then twisting it. Now that end will now be square. Now we're ready to take the mandrel, and this is what goes on the lathe, and we're going to take the 2 pieces and we're going to put them on the mandrel. First thing I do is line up the grain so that when we build the pen will be a perfect fit. So the back end first goes onto the mandrel, then the bushing, then the front end, then the front bushing, and then tighten it up together, and now it's ready to go on the lathe. Now that we have the blanks on the mandrel, and the mandrel is this piece that goes into the lathe, I'll now take and put the mandrel into the lathe, and then on the second side, snug this blade up. And so now that's on the lathe and it's ready to go. With the lathe, I use 2 tools. One is a gouge and the other is a tipped tool that's got a flat end on it. And now I'm going to take and make each one cylindrical. Both sides perfectly round. You'll notice on the pen I have this pointed, and then I have this gouged out, and then I make this rounded and I drill in there, and so I basically make it so that the pen fits very easily into one's hand. So the next step is, now we'll be taking and cutting these edges off. You'll notice the pen now starting to take shape. Now the center of the pen has a bushing on here, and that bushing has to be cut out of here. So next I'll be cutting this edge here so that it fits the bushing. Perfect. So now this piece will be able to accept the center section. So now I need to cut the rest of this so that it fits this properly when I put the clip on. So I'll cut that next. Now that end now looks and has the same diameter cut. Every craftsman has a signature. My pens have a signature where I groove in 2 grooves right before the edge. So next I'll be grooving those in on this edge. Now I have my signature that I've made this pen. The next step is to sand very fine down, and I use 220 sandpaper to begin with. I'm going to move the rest out of the way, and then with the sandpaper start sanding down. Once I've completed sanding that way, then I'll take the sandpaper and go with the grain so that the grit is not making grooves in the wood. So taking the same 220 and just sanding out any grooves. So after sanding with sandpaper, I used 220, then I used 320, then I used 400, then I use 600, and it leaves a very, very smooth finish. Then I use a 3M sanding pad, and that's what I'll do next. The next step is to use a very fine finish, and this is a polish called Hut. There. At that point, the wax is on the pen, and now with the rag, I'm going to hold it on there so that friction creates heat and it will highly gloss the wood. And look at how beautiful that's starting to become. It's a very, very high gloss and a very protectant hard finish. So to the second half. There. At that point, the gloss and the finish is halfway done. We've got one more step to put a secret sauce on it. So the next step is taking the secret sauce and shaking it very well, because those three ingredients don't mix very well. Then, taking a little bit on a rag, like so, and then just a small amount of the secret sauce. And then when I start this up, that sauce will now make a beautiful finish. Very high gloss, as you can see in the camera there. And the amazing thing is the alcohol and the shellac and the boiled linseed oil dry very, very quickly. And so once it's put on, it's actually very dry to the touch, with drying very quick. Next, I'll do the second side. Notice how beautiful that shine and that finish comes out and makes a beautiful finish. Now, we can take the pieces off the pen. This is the front set. And we're first going to put the band, and we're going to place that on here, press it in. So we take just a little bit of epoxy and place it on the edge for good quality. And then we're going to take the band and fit the band on the edge. Now, we take the press and we press that band on with pressure. Then remove the rest of the glue. And now we have the band on the pen. The next piece is putting the end on. And the edge goes again into here, and we'll press that on. Now that's in there. Now we'll take the clip, and the clip will now be firmly seated, and we have the top half of the pen. The next half is to take the point and press it into the pen. Now the point is in the pen. And then the pen holder will insert into the side. And press that there. And I have built a little tool that knows exactly how far to press that in. So now I'll press that in, and we have that done. Now I'll take the Parker style pen, and now we have a pen, two pieces together, push them together, and now we have a beautiful pen.